Hi, Tzili.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another Tzuzamen.
Yeah, Tzili.
Sam Pollard, filmmaker, ex-professor in Tisch, NYU.
It's like a president, no ex-professor. You were professor,
It's
you're
forever.
always professor, like a president.
But I'll tell you why ex, because I wanted to speak to Sam about what's going on in the universities today. And I
Right.
thought that because he's not in the system anymore, it will be easier
Right.
to speak about it and to share ideas at least, and not to have somebody who cannot say what they don't want anybody to hear.
Did I send you the letter of the NYU Jewish community?
Yeah,
Because I sent it to Joe, what his name, the chair of the dramatic writing. I sent it to him. He said I will respond after I hear from the people upstairs. So that he cannot. He doesn't want to. You can talk to Sam because he will not be afraid. Also, if he was a professor. But now,
Sam, I want to ask you something. As an educator, I mean, even that you were doing films, it's education. We know what's going on in the universities today. I mean, it's happening all the time, but now it's really rough. We know there is a freedom of speech. We know there's donations from the Arab world that keep everybody silent. We know that the students need to have the feel to say whatever on their mind. But we also know that many of them have no clue about what's going on, and really to the point that he can cover their feelings. And also, where is the system standing in terms of what tools do they give these young people in terms of facing situation like this, or how to support situation like this, or how to divide between the right and wrong? What do you think?
Well, I think here's my reaction. I think that the challenge always, particularly in America, and I'm going to speak to America, the challenge always is people needing to be educated on the history of what's going on, the evolution of stuff, And what happens with most Americans is we don't read history. We don't look at history. We just react emotionally. And it's not, I shouldn't say just in America, it happens in the world. And I think that part of the challenge of the institutions is to provide framing and context so people understand, and so they can have a much more well-rounded perspective on how they react. I mean, you guys know this. The challenges with what's happening in Israel has been there for years and years and years.
Forever.
And there are people there who feel completely one way, and there's people there who feel completely the other way. And sometimes the two, as you know, both of you know extremely well, the two don't meet, and it's a challenge. It's a challenge to have a dialogue, And
I also have to say that some of the youngsters in Israel don't know all the details. But but I don't think that the demonstrations here are in proportion to the information, and nobody guides them. Nobody guides them. Nobody talks to them. And and you think about the universities, and you say people go to the universities to get tools for life. And
that's right.
And they don't.
Right. That's the objective. That's why people go to the higher institutions of higher learning, to get the tools for life. But it's a challenge. It's an emotional and sometimes a psychological challenge.
What do we do? They don't know anything about, even if you take I keep saying I went to Ann Arbor, Michigan in the 70s. I hate to say it, 70s. And for example, I don't feel there is much change in the Black community. Yeah, more people are in the middle class or maybe high, but in essence, I don't see any change. And I don't know who cares. If our students care, they don't see many Black students anymore, so they don't have to care. How many of them, they don't know anything about the Holocaust. But I don't compare, but there is.
But there are two things at the same time. Because
but here's the thing. Here's the thing to remember. Most people don't understand or grapple with history at all. Most of us deal with what's in the present and never consider the past. So the challenge is how do you introduce people to understand the importance of history. So when they look at the history, the evolution of a place, then they can have a better understanding of what's going on today, presently, and that's the challenge.
Who's responsible for that?
But just a second, it's true from one side, but on the other hand, and it's also true, don't forget, that we all remember how old the students are and the urge to demonstrate. And I think that sometimes they just go to be part of something. I don't know, it's very big difference when you're 18 and 20. But the thing is not only to teach them how the system's supposed to handle that. Okay, you can demonstrate, you can think what you want, but the question is how you deliver it and basically how you face situation and how you handle it.
How do you base your
without
opinion?
Even information or because not everybody come to the university to study history, but
no, but here's the thing to remember: with that letter that you sent me, the challenge now for the administration is to respond in a way that tries to say, here's how we react to what's going on in the campuses, and this is where we think we should take a stand. They have to be very, very sort of completely, clear and strong about it. The problem with this, and this is the kind of sort of silence and the wishy-washiness that comes because people are nervous about how to react to this situation.
The students don't know that the university team is dealing with tons of money, with public relations.
Yeah, but remember though, tons of money from both sides.
Yeah, and a lot of Jews. It's not just Arabs.
I know. Well,
most of them are probably Jewish, but who give money.
Well, both sides.
In the board of advisors, I think.
I don't think so. But there's the picture is much bigger and much deeper and much more complicated, and it's rooted in the culture. And when the students are coming to the university, they come totally without all that. They come to get something. They come to study. They come to move on. They come to be part of certain community. They don't think about all the headaches that the president of the university has or the deans or whatever. But this group has to face the students no matter what. And they have to guide them no matter what. And this doesn't happen this time.
Well, that's why you guys wrote this petition. That's why this petition's been written, to see if the university administration will deal with it in a much more, direct way,
But yeah.
What you going to say, Tzipi?
No, just in general, who teaches them to do at least basic research before you form your attitude? It's nothing to do with it. Yeah.
It's really a part of the probably be a part of the agenda of the administration when students are coming into these schools. That's the way to do it. Unless a student is proactive, a human being has to be proactive. And if that's not going to be the case, then when they go into institutions of higher learning, there's got to be areas where you are given that kind of knowledge. And then they can articulate how they respond to it.
But I also think the teachers, like I told Tzipi, because you too, you taught films and she's teaching films. When you go to a class and you tell them, here we have something to talk about, because if you're going to make films, you need to investigate some material, you have to present certain materials. How would you use this material? And you can do it through whatever you teach, just to take them hand by hand and help them to relate to this in a certain way. I mean,
wait. What do you mean relate to it in a certain way? What does
because,
that mean?
if you have a student in a class and you as a teacher, you ignore what's going on in the university. I mean, there are demonstrations. It's very powerful. Some of the students participate. Some of the students are afraid. Some of the students are locked in. Some of the students are being protected. Some of the students are being pushed. when you go to a class, you cannot ignore it. So why not to try through whatever you teach to give them a hand and try to undo something, or at least to analyze it, or at least to cut it to pieces and have a conversation with them.
But yeah,
but it depends on your class that you're teaching. It depends on your students in the class. It depends on how you want to approach it. I mean, it's sort of like this, it's like.
But Sam, you make a lot of films about the African American community. You teach a lot, right. And you face certain problems, and you want to elevate certain problems, and you want to show it's the same.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just saying that the challenge is to present it, to give people an understanding of the both sides, and let them have their own decisions. That's how you got to do it.
Decisions, yes, but I wouldn't want. If I would teach in a class like this, I wouldn't want just to enter the class and continue my class and ignore exactly what's going on outside. To talk about it, just to raise something, and if somebody wants to say something, I'm not telling them what to think, and I'm not telling them how to decide.
Yeah, but Tzili, but you can't. And Tzipi knows this as a teacher. And we're all different human beings. There's some teachers who don't want to do that.
I know.
Who
are not allowed to. Maybe not allowed to. I'm not sure we can talk politics in the class.
But that's not necessarily politics.
It is politics. At the end of the day, everybody perceives it as a conflict between two nations, and it's a conflict.
But
political.
I'm not asking to decide.
No. Just how. Yeah, but how you expect the teachers to even present it? They don't want to, because
the question if the system is basically leaving room for
ignorance.
No, not for ignorance, how to address it, because we see professors that are pushing in a very negative way or in a very aggressive way. But I'm thinking about the opposite, and not to punish the students or not to give them a better mark because they're active, just to open a discussion in the class and try to help them through, just to understand this, not the subject, the idea.
Yeah. So
you can do that. I mean, but it depends. It always depends on who the person is, the teacher. I mean, some teachers.
But this is not a private place. It's a educational institute that costs tons of money, and needs to and it's responsible for your education and to give you certain amount of values. You're part of a society. It's a big picture. You cannot just be there flying in a empty space.
Do you expect?
What I would say is this, and Tzipi, you could do this. Go into the next faculty meeting and raise that in the faculty meeting.
Did.
And what was the response?
I talked to quiet, silent. Only 4 people responded in emails.
But in email, they didn't say anything in the meeting. They wrote to her,
Well, wait a minute. I talked in the old Tish meeting, and I was very delicate. Maybe quiet.
And what about it?
Like 4 or 5 people responded in email, and the dean said, "If you want to meet the president, I can facilitate it. I can write her myself." But let me ask you something. When what is his name? Floyd. What is his first name?
George Floyd.
Yeah,
George Floyd.
This case, there were so many Black people murdered and killed and stuff, but something with this really put people up, right? Putting the need. It was also, people must know that what happened now, what the Hamas did, I don't think it was done except ISIS. It was not done for many, many years. And yet, the world didn't shout, because, by the way, it's not just our problem. They can really go after other countries. They really went against civilization. Our response, let's wait with the response.
Yeah, but Tzipi, you're getting into another open door, because people sometimes don't want to know. They have enough of their own. There are all kinds of reasons. There's so many problems all over the world.
Speak about the students.
No, but you're not involved in every problem in the world the way you're involved in your home. But I'm talking about something basic. Something basic. There are students from all over the world in the United States. All the Ivy League universities, all the state universities, all the other universities. I don't see that they do something about the idea of how to protest or how to handle, and not to say anything or just ignore it. As a university, it's a shame.
The question you have to ask yourself is the why. The other question you have to ask yourself is what does Israel mean to the world today, as opposed to what it meant 20, 30, 40 years ago? These are the questions you have to ask yourself. And why has it led to this challenging time in this world's history?
Right. And Tzili, the anti-Semitism now that you have, people are against Jews, but actually part of it is against Israel policy and occupation. They just don't differentiate the two. That's all.
That's right.
Yes, they have, but they have, preconceived ideas about Jews. We know that this for a long, long time.
I told you that is every day Israel get weakened, and the anti-Semitism in the world is rising. It's just an equation. It's a sad equation. But it's not only about Israel, because you have to understand the Muslim problems and the Muslim wishes, and you have to understand the relation between the Muslims and Israel, and you have to understand. I mean, there are so many things that you need to understand, but it's impossible.
But the thing to remember is what Tzipi did is for professors to go into their into their departments and raise the issue.
Which is how I start my class now. I tell them the truth. Listen, I'm here. Very difficult for me to be here because, and then and of course I tell them, and I even show them like clips from my films that I do, and we had this talk with somebody. We do understand. I am against occupation, forcefully so. Me and Tzili talked with a person about the source of terrorism, and it's really when people feel really humiliated, they go into violence. It's not just ideology and religion. Many times they become violent simply because they feel humiliated, not important.
But again, this is not about the students.
But the thing to do is what Tzipi is trying to do is to see what colleagues will do exactly what you're doing. That's why I said, did you raise it? And you said you raised it in the all faculty meeting. Yeah. You raised it in our department. And then it becomes on part of the students. And the dean saying to you, she will facilitate a meeting with the president, which is the right thing to do, Tzipi.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And she will be here. You will be still at NYU. You will talk, I think. I could take you by my hand and ask you to come with me. I don't know even who I can call, except Ronnie.
Nobody you should
who?
Ronnie K. Who? Ronnie?
Who's
the other Israeli, is a blonde Israeli.
The one who teaches
studio.
Oh, I don't know her.
Oh, you didn't meet her yet? Oh, wow.
No.
Okay. So but that's the only one. I cannot get anybody.
Last week I came back from Israel, and we were sitting together and we were talking about what's going on in the silent from the universities. And Tzipi said, I have no strength to go to teach. And I said, why don't you tell the student the way you feel? Something is going on.
I did it anyway, first time.
So, and I think once you bring it with you personally as a human being and show the emotions, and you raise a subject, it's not about if you're right or wrong, and it's not about who you are voting for. It's about how do I feel in this situation, and how can I do something, but in that that you can talk about it in a way that everybody listens, and also that the university is backing you up in the right way and not ignoring it, which is the worst way to.
Yeah, but you speak about, yeah, but let's make sure that they think different.
Well, I agree.
It's okay.
But I agree with that. But you need to be able to have people who want to speak up. But listen, we're all adults. We know that every human being is not going to do that.
Yeah.
All you can do is what Tzipi's doing. And any other professor in that department.
In the class, the teachers.
Yeah,
but in the
first thing you have to do,
need to raise it. Yeah.
Most professors will not do it. Most professors I know will not do it. Will not. I don't think they come to class and raise any terrible issue that occurs in the world, like I don't know, Ukraine. I don't think any professor comes to the classroom and.
They don't, but
do you think about the Ukraine people now, their situations and what's going on? I don't think anybody.
Yeah, because I'm watching the news all the time. I mean, to me, you can't escape it.
Yeah.
But the thing that you always did, Tzipi, was to challenge your colleagues to speak up. That's all you can do, and then do what you're doing in your classroom.
I wonder if I shouldn't ask every professor to let me come for the first 10 minutes and talk about the complexity of the situation. Not one side, the complexity.
Ask them.
Yeah, I will. Even for 10 minutes. That's maybe you just gave me, talking to both of you, and really complexity.
Do it in don't you still teach writing too?
I teach language of film, and I teach research and writing the documentary.
Oh, I thought you taught dramatic writing. You don't teach in dramatic writing anymore?
In the spring. In the spring, yes, the feature lab, yeah.
I would suggest you do that. So reach out to all the colleagues in the department and say,
but you see, but the chair told me I have to first consult with upstairs. I was amazed.
Well, you don't have to do that.
Not Ezra, not in our department, in the other one. I was surprised, I must admit. In
the dramatic writing department?
Yeah. Maybe I should.
But in our department, you can do it, right?
I just wrote. Yeah, I don't know. I know that.
Listen, Ezra
must be a leader in every department. Or the dean must. The dean was talking about it, but it was really very mild. The president sent an email. Oh my God, it was like 3 lines, so mild. The main email was, we are taking care of our students in Tel Aviv because we have study abroad in Tel Aviv, right?
But so now this petition challenges.
But the beginning was so soft and mellow, and you didn't arouse it.
So that's why you got this petition to challenge it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Right. You don't have kids in school anymore, right?
No kids in school.
Right. Okay, good for you.
All adults.
Right. So maybe your next film, somebody should really go and knock the system, because also high school kids, before they come to us, I don't know who is talking to, I don't speak just about what happens now. Many other issues that are around the world or in America. Anybody talk to them about gun control?
But it's also about the definition of education, and for all the high schools, the universities. You need to define exactly what is that you want to give the young generation.
Look at the statement, the mission statement. We would like to raise leaders, open, free, and a lot of words about, it's even written, I think it's written in the statement mission even that about research, how research is important, right? Because we do it in our documentary class. You cannot start a documentary without a research. I claim you cannot start a feature without.
Sam, don't you think that there's a room for a big change in the American educational system in universities?
Yeah, but
you know what?
Listen,
You don't want to
No,
start?
no.
You don't know where to start?
No, America, you guys see what America's going through. I mean, it's horrific.
Well, come on. How many years, let's say, just take one slice. How many years the board of trustees of the universities are not people with vision? They're people with money. No? I think so.
Not,
and I
not
don't
normally.
What?
Not normally, no.
Usually is the board,
with,
board of trustees are people with vision?
No, I'm saying not normally.
You mean most of them are chosen because they are rich people?
You're talking about the people who run the universities? Who are you talking
People
about?
who are the board of trustees.
Who support
because they're rich people.
That's it, right?
They're rich people.
Is this logical to you? That are not people with vision?
Now you're being naive.
I'm not being naive, I'm being angry.
You know, I thought that at the Corona time, things will be shaken so hard that things will change. But the system is so powerful and strong that everything fell to the...
That's exactly right.
And it's so...
That's exactly right.
I mean, this is really to change the whole culture of the United States, because, and this is hard, but at least to support some values, which we're missing terribly now. And
but the value of America starts with a C.
I know.
It's called capitalism.
No,
that's what the value of America is built on. That's simple as that.
I know.
You know, and I'm a 73-year-old man, African American man, and I've lived through many decades, and I see an America that I feel is as horrific as it was, even though there's been some change, as horrific as it was in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. You know, the fact that we might be on the verge of electing a man who basically is an autocrat says a lot about this country.
Yeah, and also crazy. You know, so I wonder. So you just told us your age? Don't do that. Did he?
She reacted.
Don't do it.
It's good that you speak softly, because usually she jumps earlier.
Right. So do you think your films changed people? Can you, with your film, change attitudes? No, first but loud, not to...
I think, first of all, they inform people, which is important.
I don't know if they change. I don't know if they change people. They inform.
That's right.
You know, I don't know if films change people. They inform people. You know,
maybe with information you change your mind, but it's information.
But the thing to remember is that we're living in a time, and it was always this way, where generations of young people have a lack of understanding history, not only history in America, but history around the world.
Yeah, of course.
So the challenge is to make them aware of that history, and what you're doing, Tzipi, is the right approach. Now, the pushback is another thing, but you're doing the right thing.
Well, but you see, but only about 4 or 5 people reacted to my little speech.
So you're,
and they were very polite.
Strategy,
they were very polite.
But the next strategy is for you to say what you said, to go and spend 10 minutes in each class and see if they say yes. Come in.
Okay. Yeah, let me try to do it.
Sam, are you working on something now?
He said no. Oh, you went.
No, I'm developing some stuff.
I'm
developing some things, but no productions. I'll be in New York tomorrow, but I have a meeting tomorrow. But no
what day is tomorrow?
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Wednesday. I'll be in New York next Wednesday, this Wednesday, next Wednesday, and the Wednesday after.
Well, maybe I will ask you. We'll talk. I will write to you. Listen, Sam.
Thank you.
No
Thank
more
you for coming.
That's of course, but he's realistic. You know.
Yeah.
He's realistic.
I don't know how realistic I'm just, listen. The world is such a shit show to me on all levels.
Right.
But
the 2 kids you saw before we started are my grandsons, right? You saw them for a minute, right? In 50 years, they have to go to the army and start the whole thing
I know.
again. And so it goes, right? So I have to live with that, I guess. Okay, Booby, what can I tell you?
All right.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you, everybody.